Dear Zlate Mehmedovic, hello, hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. My name is Taşkın Kılıç, Associate Professor. I will moderate this session. Can you hear me and see us clearly?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. I can see you. So I think that everything is in order. We can start with the presentation if you're okay with that.
Great. Approximately we have 20 and 25 minutes. So according to this time, you will present, then we take some question maybe.
Okay, I'm here. I'm responsible for that. I know how the system works. So if you have any questions after my presentations, please ask, or even during my presentations, you can interrupt at any time and send.
Time I will try to interrupt and translate Turkish.
Okay.
Some crucial sentence I translate Turkish.
Okay.
Başlayabilir miyiz?
Evet, başlayabiliriz. You can start, sir.
Okay. Kıymetli katılımcılar, ikinci oturuma geçiyoruz. Şu an ikinci oturumdaki yabancı konuşmacılarımız, yani keynote speakerlarımız 3 tane var. İlki Dr. Zlate Mehmedovic. Kendisi Mekodonia sağlık sistemini bize anlatacak ama öncelikle kendisini tanıtmasını isteyeceğiz. 20-25 dakikalık bir sunum olacak. Ardından sorular olabilir. Onları alırız. Sonra da diğer ikinci konuşmacıya geçeriz. Dear Dr. Mehmedovic, thank you for your contribution and presentation. First of all, please, could you introduce yourself, our colleagues? Then you start your presentation.
Okay, so I'm Dr. Zlate Mehmedovic. I'm from Skopje, North Macedonia. I'm a doctor who is specialist in occupational medicine. Also, I'm a PhD candidate in public health in my final year. So I will have my dissertation on building healthcare systems about this matter that is very important to our country and I think everywhere in the world. So I'm also president of the Association of Doctors of Occupational Medicine in Macedonia. And I have an experience of working in the sector for public health for more than 15 years. So when you asked me to have my lecture held on this conference, what we agreed on was to present how North Macedonia, my country, was able to cope with the crisis that was reflected with the coronavirus. So it was and still is quite a fight, and we must say that we are working every day hard to find new solutions for the growing numbers of new daily cases of COVID-19 in our country. And just to be informed for you how the situation developed, I will start with the basics on that, how the healthcare system is based in our country. And in Republic of Macedonia, first starting with the demographic characteristics of our country, you can see that we are relatively a small country, which has only approximately around 2 million people. We are a landlocked country. We don't have exit to any seas. We have 5 land borders with our neighbors, with Greece, Bulgaria, with Albania, Kosovo, Serbia. Also, we have a very cultural diversity and ethnical diversity, religious diversity in our country. And that's what's great about this country. You learn how the other people live, what kind of culture they have, and how you can cohabitate with them. That's one of the most beautiful things about our country, and we respect it a lot. We live together with Albanians, with Turkish, with Serbs, with Bosniaks. We have Roma population in our country, Romanians, and they are all different kind of groups that have their own culture, and it's very hard to be able to respect and have cohabitation with those ethnical societies, but also it is very challenging and it's very beautiful. Our country has a continental climate. Its temperature range around from -20 to +40 in the summer. And in political context, it's a parliamentary constitutional republic. So that's the major demographics characteristics, which are very important for basing the healthcare system in one country. You have to adapt your healthcare system exactly to those characteristics of your country. For example, if you have cultural differences in your country, you have to adapt the healthcare system for certain areas where you have, for example, more Muslims or more Christians who have different kind of approach to the doctors and to the healthcare system. So it's a very challenging system. But under the constitution, the public healthcare system in our country guarantees equal access to healthcare for every citizens, and that can be provided without any cost. It's free of charge, so you can get treatments of specialists, you can get hospitalizations, you can get ambulance transport, medicines who are on positive lists, and that's a list who is changing every year, sometimes even several times a year, who can provide new adapted medicines for newly diagnosed diseases. We have free of charge dental treatment and preventive treatments like screening for breast carcinoma, screening for colorectal carcinoma, thyroid carcinoma, etc. In order to be able to get your healthcare service, you need to register with the general practitioner, who is your chosen doctor. I think that it's very similar to the Turkish system you have there. And your chosen doctor, or the doctor in general practice, or even it can be a specialist in family medicine, you can visit and have the basic medical healthcare services within his office. If you have any special requirements or your health state requires something special to be done with you, then you have to go to specialists or even to the clinical centers to do the investigation, diagnosis, or even treatment. We have hospitals and clinics available in all major cities in North Macedonia. There, where we have a smaller number of populations, we have health homes which provide primary healthcare service, outpatient healthcare service, and also preventive healthcare service. And mostly of the preventive healthcare service is within the immunization of the children from 0 to 18 years. It's not only about curative health services, which give you diagnosis and treatment. It's also about the public health services and the systems that we have in our country to provide public health services. And we can say that our country has an inherited system from former Yugoslavia, which had a very well built public health services. They were consisted of 5 specialties. One of them is my specialty, occupational medicine, which is responsible for health and safety of work. In Macedonia, almost 1 million people are in some kind of work process and have to be insured, and their medical situation needs to be observed continuously.
Let me translate some crucial point for Turkish audience, Dr. Mehmetov.
Okay.
Kıymetli katılımcılar, Kuzey Makedonya sağlık sistemini iyi bilen, orada yöneticilik yapan, aynı zamanda halk sağlığı konusunda da doktorasının son tez aşamasında olan Mehmetoviç bize kendi sağlık sistemlerini anlatmaya çalışıyor. Şöyle, nüfus olarak 2 milyon nüfusları olduğunu, fakat kültürel çeşitlilik, etnik çeşitlilik ve dini çeşitlilik olarak birçok farklı etnik yapıya ve dini yapıya ve kültürel çeşitliliğe sahip olduğu, işte Müslümanlar, Hristiyanlar gibi yine Yugoslavya'dan kalma bir ülke olduğu için de farklı etnik yapılar olduğu için aslında bu çeşitlilik hem bir anlamda zenginlik hem de onların beklentilerine ve onlara özgü de bir sağlık sistemi sunmak için de çeşitli zorlukları içerisinde barındırmakta. Buna dikkat ederek sağlık sistemini inşa etmeye çalıştıklarını söyledi. Diğer taraftan sağlık sistemini inşa ettiklerinde, yani Kuzey Makedonya sağlık sisteminin en önemli unsurları eşit ulaşım. Hangi mensuba, hangi yapıya sahip olursanız olun, hangi toplumsal sınıfta olursanız olun, ünvan ya da etnik yapı olarak sağlık sistemine eşit ulaşım olduğunu ve ücretsiz olduğunu da bize söyledi. Yine aile hekimliği sistemi olduğu gibi, Türkiye'deki gibi ve hastaların öncelikle aile hekimine gittiğini ve oradan ileri araştırma gerektiğinde ondan sonra diğer hastanelere gidebildiğini söyledi. Diğer taraftan halk sağlığı uygulamaları, aşılama uygulamalarında güçlü olduğunu, çünkü eski Yugoslavya'dan kalan bir sistem olduğu için de o uygulamalarında gayet güçlü olduğunu bize söyledi. Yes, please carry on, Dr. Mehmedovic.
Thank you very much. So as I said, we had well-distributed public health services. We had occupational medicine, epidemiology, social medicine, medical hygiene, and health ecology, also microbiology and virology. And in this time of crisis, when we have to face the coronavirus, this has shown like a very good base in the fight that we had against the coronavirus, because using the first of all, epidemiology as one of the branches that cover health services was very important. And most of the epidemiologists become like local heroes in the cities where they worked. Usually people didn't even know that they exist like a doctors or like a profession, but suddenly they were local heroes, tracing contexts, isolating and testing on the field, trying to cope with the problems in every city in our country. And suddenly the public health services and the public health specialties, which were merely forgotten in our country, became familiar for the citizens again. And that was practically great. It was great to know that we have institutions, we have doctors that are well aware and that are well informed, that have their own skills, especially in epidemiology, to be able to work on field. So it was quite a relief for the system, for the Ministry of Health, for the government, and for the citizens to see that we have the system resources like epidemiology, occupational medicine, social medicine, that can cope with the problem of coronavirus. It was public health network organization, which was well built. It is still like it was in former Yugoslavia. We have one great big institute for public health. We have one home health center, which covers almost half of the citizens of our country and provides primary health care, preventive health care, and also integrating every kind of outpatient healthcare control under this healthcare center. We have 10 public healthcare centers in all of our country, and we have 2 regional units for public health. So as I said, that's a network that we used to have in former Yugoslavia, and it's still working in our country. The other thing we needed was not only preventive measure and public health measures, we needed the curative measures. We needed the diagnostic and treatment for the patients who already have contracted the COVID-19. So we have to build COVID centers or adapt the hospitals to be COVID centers. One of the biggest hospitals in our country is the former military hospital from the former Yugoslavia. We used to call it military hospital, but now we call it Skopje City Hospital, 8th of September, which is the day of independence of our country. And in that center, every single bed was made a COVID bed. So it was 100% COVID center. The other biggest COVID center in our country was the Clinic for Infectious Diseases. And there were 2 recently new opened COVID centers, strictly for COVID patients who have mild to middle severe respiratory symptoms. And they were opened in 2 other hospitals who have a bit smaller capacity. In our country, despite these centers, which are located in the capital city of Skopje, we had 3 regional centers in Bitola, Štip, and Tetovo. who accepted patients from the south, from the west, and from the east. Those from the north were accepted in the capital of Skopje. Approximately, they have 1,000 beds. This capacity was never reached, and that's good because we never stretched the system. We never put strain on the system to see how much it can take. And we had approximately 150 intensive care units with respirators. Also, this capacity was never stretched. At most, we had like 20 to 30 patients on respirators per day. And we hope that in the future, we will never have to use any of these ICU units. Do you want to translate, Professor Tashkin, now, or would you like to continue?
Okay.
So I will give you from time to time.
Bir önceki slaytta Mehmetoviç koruyucu hizmetlerin yapısını anlattı bize. Orada ayaktan hastaları aşılama, koruyucu hizmetler ve sağlık sisteminin halk sağlığı boyutunu aslında anlattı. Bu slaytta da COVID ile ilgili yapılan çalışmaları burada Üsküp'te, başkent Üsküp'te COVID sistemine, COVID pandemisine yanıt verecek 4 tane merkez kurduklarını, bunların toplam yatak sayısının 1000 olduğunu ama 1000'e ulaşılmamış hiçbir zaman, yani 1000 kapasite kullanılmamış, pandemi o kadar tam kapasiteye ulaşmamış. Yine 150 tane de yoğun bakım yatakları varmış. Yine bunun da 20-30 tanesini kullandıklarını ve 150 yatağa ulaşılmadığını, tam kapasiteye ulaşılmadığını, pandeminin tabii salgınının çok aşırı zorlamadığını da görüyoruz bu şekilde. Yes, please.
Okay, so just in addition, I had one more slide, which is also about the total amount of beds that we have in our country. It's 12,000 hospital beds for every kind of specialty that we have: clinical, patient healthcare, 350 critical care beds. But the real problem that our country is facing is with the immigration of our healthcare staff, and everybody that is within our country is usually seeking for a job outside our country, mostly in the Western countries like Germany, Austria, even Denmark, Sweden, and other Nordic countries. So the number of physicians per capita per 1,000 citizens has really decreased in the past 10 years. We used to have around 4 physicians per 1,000 citizens, and now we have 2.4, and the number is still falling. So the government now is doing everything in their capacity to make better conditions, better salaries, and to meet the requirements of the healthcare workers in order to stop this immigration of healthcare force out of our country. Also, there is a minimal number of nurses and midwives in our country. It's 3.7 per 1,000 citizens, and it's very bad since we know that the ratio between the physicians and nurses and midwives in the well-organized, well-prepared healthcare systems needs to be 1 to 2.5. So we'll need to have, and if we have 4 physicians, which is pretty good for the systems that we have, then we will have to be able to have at least 10 nurses and midwives for those amount of physicians, but we don't have it. So we have the shortage of healthcare personnel now in the moment, and as I can say, thankfully we can be thankful for that the healthcare system is not stretched, it's not under the strain. We don't have too many patients contracted COVID that are in the hospitals, and we are able to still control the disease within our hospitals. I don't know how it will develop in the future, but the numbers are not promising. We know that this pandemic is getting bigger and bigger. The numbers are getting bigger. The daily cases that the world is recording every day are bigger, and the intensive care units are getting filled. Would you like to try?
Ülkelerin sistemi kapasitesinden biraz bahsettiler. 12.000 yatak kapasiteleri varmış toplam ülkede. Bundan 350 tanesi yoğun bakım ya da kritik yatak dediğimiz özellikli yatak. olarak geçiyor. Burada ülke olarak en büyük sıkıntıları doktor ve hemşire ve sağlık personeli sayısının özellikle başka ülkelere, Batı Avrupa ülkelerine gitmesinden dolayı, oradaki çeşitli maaş ve değişik koşulların iyi olmasından dolayı Kuzey Makedonya'da hekim ve diğer sağlık personellerinin eksik olduğu, sıkıntılı olduğu, oranlarının düşük olduğunu söyledi. Fakat Allah'tan bu pandemide personel eksikliğinden dolayı çok büyük bir sıkıntı yaşamadıklarını, henüz kontrol altında tuttuklarını ama ilerideki pandeminin daha da büyümesinden dolayı personel eksikliği yaşayabileceklerini de bahsediyor. Okay, please carry on, Dr. Memduh.
Okay, thank you, Tashkin. So this is what happened. Do you have any questions? Sorry.
No, please carry on.
Okay, so this is what happened. It was a joint forces, a joint efforts from the government, from the healthcare system, from the Ministry of Health, or the Ministry of External Affairs. Everybody joined and decided that they have to have a system of how to cope with this crisis. And when they had this meeting, that made some kind of decisions that are still in force. The basic counseling body for all these crises was the Commission for Infectious Diseases. So it's a counseling body for the Ministry of Health, and it usually, when you don't have this kind of crisis situation, is the body that is giving the minister advices about the certain conditions that are related to infectious diseases. So past year, 2019, at the beginning of 2019, we had a problem with measles. So we had an epidemic of measles in our country, just because the number of children who were vaccinated from 0 to 14 years was under 60%. And you cannot have a herd immunity if you have immunization under 60%. So we had to raise those numbers. We had to vaccinate more. And this Commission for Infectious Diseases in that times was again counseling body for the minister who had to make decisions over those counseling advices on the condition. So when making a decision about certain type of action that needed to be taken was made by the advice that was made by this commission. This commission had, as I told you, a lot of members. Most of them are members from the public health sector, epidemiologists, occupational medicine specialists, medical hygiene, social medicine. And they are very much familiar with the preventive measures that are much needed now in this corona crisis. So they are familiar with the problems that we have now. The advice from the minister then was delivered, the advice that the commission gave to the minister was enforced into decisions that were given to the central crisis headquarters. And this headquarters was consisted from the Minister of Health, the Prime Minister of our country, the President of our country, the Minister for Internal Affairs, the Vice Presidents of our government. So they were the policymakers, those who will have to enforce the counsels, the advices that came from the Commission for Infectious Diseases. Those, then the headquarters normally had to enforce those and put it into the law, those decisions that were made, and that was made through the government of North Macedonia and also with the approval of the president of our country. Would you like to translate this, Professor Tashkin?
Shortly, let me. Koronavirüsle ilgili süreci, yani nasıl yönettiklerini, modeli bize anlatıyor. Yani özellikle üst yönetim kademesinde. Nasıl bizde sağlık komisyonu var, Türkiye'de var ya bir bilim kurulu, evet. Orada da enfeksiyon hastalıkları komisyonu, yine kriz yönetim merkezi gibi bir başkanlık. Ayrıca yine orada mevcut hükümet ve başkan, yani Kuzey Makedonya Başkanı, bu altta alınan tavsiyeler üste doğru giderek karar mekanizmaları bu 4 yapıdan çıkıyor. bu şekilde krizin alınacak kararlar, pandemiyle ilgili kararlar bu şekilde bu yapıda alınıyor.
Hocam ben bir soru sorabilir miyim?
Zaman nasıl Deniz?
Aslında zamanımız kalmadı, evet.
Dear Mehmetovic, we have only 3 minutes.
Okay.
Please, you in 3 minutes finish your presentation. Then we take some question.
Okay. So we had to use relevant sources of information of how to protect our citizens from this COVID-19. And just when the first case was reported in our country, it was 26th of February 2020. Then we had some measurements that were quite severe, taken measurements that were adopted by the government for prevention of spreading the disease. We suspended the educational process, we prohibited the mass gatherings, we had mandatory self-isolation and quarantines for people who came back to our country. We prohibit organized international bus transportations. We have determined which categories of people who have several diseases, cohabitant diseases, had to have a sick leave not to be able to work. And the Ministry of Interior assigned a regime for crossing borders. So it was quite a list of measures that we implemented then to be able to fight with this coronavirus. One of the biggest decisions that we made was the adopted decision of the amendment of this for prohibition, a special regime of movement on the territory of Republic of North Macedonia. And this decision was one of the most important because with minimizing the contacts between people, you minimize the possibility of spreading the virus. It was not enough, obviously. So on the March of 18th, our president declared the state of emergency. And this state of emergency was only declared because certain measures had to be applied, and those were economic and social measures. The healthcare measures were not in question. They were implemented by the decision-making policy which we previously mentioned with the crisis headquarters and the Infectious Diseases Commission.
Okay.
Would you like to translate?
Okay, why not? Yeah. Korona başladığında Şubat ayında arkadaşlar bir takım önlemler almışlar. İşte okulların kapanmasından iş yerlerine kadar, hangi şartlarda çalışılacağına kadar birçok uygulama, işte karantina süreleri, izolasyon süreleri. Buradaki amaç toplum arasındaki teması minimize etmek, azaltmak. Yine gördüğünüz slaytta da ekonomik bazı önlemler ve sosyal hayatla ilgili de bazı kurallar getirilmiş. İşte burada ekonomide özel sektöre, kamu sektörüne ne kadar destek verileceği, maaşların ne kadarını devletin karşılayacağını, işte %50 oranında diyor maaşlar desteklenmiştir. Dolayısıyla ekonomik ve sosyal hayatla ilgili, korona ile ilgili Kuzey Makedonya'da alınan önlemleri de bize kendisi arz etti. Okay, please carry on.
So we had an economic and social measures, and those were implemented just for the holistic approach to this crisis, to be able to provide not only health, but also provide mental and social well-being for our citizens during this crisis. The healthcare measures were usually those that were shared with the WHO, with our country. So we implemented the measure through their office, and we didn't have any problems with implementing the measure. That gave good results in the early of the crisis, but then something went wrong. Since we had on May the 3rd, the smallest number of newly recorded cases for COVID-19, and it was only 5 cases in the entire country, and none of them was that case. So something went wrong. And what went wrong was this. Since the government have made a decision for restriction of movement on citizens for upcoming period of Ramadan Bayram holidays and Easter holidays, some of the citizens didn't comply with these measures and didn't obey these measures. So we had problems occurring, and those problems occurred just after the end of this period, exactly 2 weeks is the incubation of the virus, and we had problems after those 2 weeks. So we had everything went downhill after the holidays. And it was noticeable that some citizens didn't respect the measures. They seemed to like spending the holidays and nice weather with their close ones, and that was important for them. So they didn't respect the social distance, and we had an outbreak again that was not under our control. Would you like to translate until now, please?
Okay. Aslında Mayıs ayına kadar epey başarılı gitmiş o uygulamalar, önlemler, ama Mayıs'ta bir şeyler yanlış gittiğini söylüyor. Bazı kişilerin bu kuralları önemsemediği, onları bir tatil gibi gördüğü ve kurallara, izolasyon kurallarına uyulmadığını bize söylüyor. Dolayısıyla yeniden vaka sayıları artmış ve orada işte ondan sonra da Ramazan bayramı ve çünkü orada da Müslüman bir nüfus var. Onunla ilgili de kısıtlamalar, önlemler yeniden getirilmiş arkadaşlar. Yani Mayıs ayında tekrar vaka görülmeye başlanmış. Yes, please.
So this is what happened. If we had the smallest number of cases on May the 3rd, then suddenly on 3rd of July, we had 3-digit cases. And we had 101 new daily case of coronavirus. And then we knew that something is very wrong and that we will not be able to go back, because all the clusters, all the contact tracing, all the testing, all the isolation was gone. We could not trace any clusters anymore because everywhere we had clusters. And since that 3rd of July, Macedonia is recording 3-digit numbers of new daily cases. And just in order of that to be even worse, on the 26th of May this year, there was a repeal of restriction of movement and opening of borders and cafeterias in our country, which was proposed by the Commission for Infectious Diseases. And that was that was the decision for some kind of controversy in our country that we will talk about later. Would you like to translate, Professor Tashkent, so that I can finish?
But before the translation, can I say that, Dr. Zlata, we are missing the schedule. So could you please, like we have, let's say 3 minutes.
Okay, Dennis.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the problem was with the parliamentary elections. We had to hold the parliamentary elections because of the political crisis in our country, and we have political disagreements. But that led to climbing numbers of new coronavirus cases. So what do we had to do? We had to go back. And was it even possible to go back and to make restrictions? Just yesterday, the Commission for Infectious Diseases said that, okay, we will go back and we will have again quarantine and we will have isolation of cases. But that was exactly not what we could do at this moment.
Hello, sir. Can you hear
Just
me?
to end the presentation.
I call you because are you ready for presentation?
So we are now back to our public healthcare measures. Washing your hands, keeping
We have only 6
mask,
minutes.
and we cannot.
I consider
more.
I consider Turkish time.
I just hope that.
So you are in outside right now.
Be able to.
Dennis, please close your microphone.
So I hope that in the near future we will be able to, if we go back to these measures that were applied at the beginning of the corona crisis, to go back to the single-digit numbers of new daily cases and death cases from the coronavirus. Thank you very much. That's my presentation. So after your translation, I'm here to answer any questions.
Zlait Mehmetoviç diyor ki aslında Mayıs'a kadar kontrol altına aldıkları bu pandemiyi Mayıs'tan sonra işte bu kurallara uymamadan dolayı, ayrıca çeşitli politikal uyuşmazlıklardan dolayı, yani hükümette de demek ki bazı karar mekanizmaları sağlıklı işlemediği için tekrar üçlü rakamlara, günde üçlü rakamlara ulaşan bir Covid pandemisinin yayılma hızı var. Bu tabii tekrar geriye döndüğümüzü gösteriyor diyor. Tekrar işte bu halk sağlığı önlemlerini uygulamak gerektiğini ve bu kuralları uygulama nereye gideceğini de onlar da bilmiyorlar ama politik sıkıntılar pandemideki bu kararları da uygulanmasında sorunlar yaşattığında bize söylüyor. Thank you for your presentation, dear Mekodonia. Now we are taking some question for you.
Okay.
Soru sormak isteyen var mı? Şimdi sorabilirsiniz isterseniz İngilizce ya da Türkçe nasıl arzu ederseniz.
İngilizce.
Neycisiniz tam olarak hanımefendi?
Teşekkür ederim Sayın Taşkın Hocam. Thank you very much for your valuable presentation, Dr. Zlata Mehmedovic. I am also living in Skopje, in Mekodonia for 1 year, and I hope I will live in here for 2 years more. So,
you're welcome at any time.
Yes, thank you very much. I come through all of your strategy about your COVID-19. I know what have you done, and I want to congratulate you for your health system. It was very stable at the beginning of the COVID-19 strategy. Just I want to learn for your aspect. I want to learn your aspect. Is the number of the daily tests is sufficient for COVID now, coronavirus patients for this? And the second is there any strategy for your government for the future, to learn about your natural immunity? I mean, the anticore test. Would you do the anticore test for the future or in the meantime? Thank you.
What kind of test, just once again?
Anticore tests, antibody, immunoglobulin.
Okay.
Yes, are you planning such kind of test to learn your natural immunity?
Okay. So, first of all, thank you for the kind words. You're welcome in our country anytime. If you had experience, you know how big is the hospitality of our people, of every our people. We have Turkish, we have Albanians, we have Macedonians, Bosniaks. So you're welcome anytime here. When you visit, please give me a call. But just to start with the answering of the questions, was the test sufficient? Yes, I think that we were the second country in the region on the Balkan Peninsula that had most tests done in this region. The first was Slovenia, and then it was North Macedonia. So are we testing massively? Yes, we are testing. We are using quite a lot of tests just to be able to trace the contacts. And as I said, since the 26th of May, when the measures for restrictions of movements were lifted, we didn't have any control of the cluster, so we had to do even more tests. If we used to do around 400, 500 tests per day before 26th of May, after the 26th of May, we used to make even 1,400 tests. So we almost tripled the number of tests for coronavirus. It's sufficient to be able to find certain pockets, certain clusters, and to isolate them. I don't think that it's really sufficient for the strategy for the future, which you mentioned, because the strategy for the future and testing for antibodies or for the immunity, to be able to see which percentage of our population has the immunity to the coronavirus, we have certain dilemmas. And those dilemmas really relate to the specificity and to the sensibility of the tests that are used for immunoglobulin sort for antibody testing. In our country, we have commercial tests, which are tests for EUA FDA approval, in emergency use authorizations. It's almost in everywhere in the world like that. And they have different specificity. Some of them have specificity of 98%, and others have the specificity of 60%. So if you are making assessment of the local immunity in our country with tests that are not highly specific, you will have a problem. We don't have enough commercial tests that have high specificity or sensitivity. So when we are able to provide our laboratories with this kind of sensitive tests, then the antibody tests and massive screening will be one of the strategies to see how we will move in the future with this coronavirus, just to see who is carrying antibodies, how much is the titer of those antibodies within his blood, and is that immune system working for a long period of time. I cannot really say that testing now in the moment is one of the measures that is going to have public health implications, because, as I said, you can test somebody, and if the test is wrong, and the test tells you that that person has an immunity, has antibodies to the coronavirus, you will send him back to work thinking that he is safe, but actually he can get COVID-19 contracted and disseminated between the population. So it's not the safest measure now at the moment to do testing, massive screening for COVID-19 with the antibody tests.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your reply. Esma Hocam teknik bir soru sordu. Şimdi açıkla bakalım, nasıl açıklayacaksın? Zaman var mı Deniz?
Hocam Enver Hoca'yı bekliyoruz. Hala gelmedi. O yüzden zaman var diyebiliriz.
Zaman var. Esma Hocam sorduğun soruyu ve lütfen cevabını bize...
Hocam şöyle, ben de bir biyokimyacı olarak, haklı olarak merak ettim. Çünkü biliyorsunuz yapılan PCR testlerinin güvenilirliği sürekli tartışılan bir konu. Hoca da ona değindi.
Teknik olduğu için size atalım topu. Siz buyurun. Evet.
Söz konusu antikor testleri için antikor olup olmadığını görmek için doğal bağışıklık ve şu anda Türkiye'nin rastgele yaptığı çok güzel bir uygulamaydı. Biyokimyacı bakış açısıyla söylüyorum. Bu uygulamanın Mekodonya'da olup olmayacağını sormuştum. Kendileri antikor testleriyle ilgili olarak güven aralıklarını söylediler. %90, %60 arasında bir güven aralıkları var. O yüzden şu önümüzdeki süreçte onu çok düşünülmediğini, günlük test sayılarının yeterli olduğunu, normal PCR test sayılarının 400...
Günlük test sayıları 1000'in üzerinde miydi? Öyle dedi sanki.
400 civarı dedi hocam. Genellikle de öyle. 1000 teste buldukları da oluyor. Ortalama minimum 400'den 1000'e kadar çıkıyor. Önümüzdeki Eylül ayı itibariyle okullar açıldığında nasıl bir strateji izleyecekleri de çok da anladığım kadarıyla tekrar düşünecekler. Antikor testleri burada yapılmıyor hocam. Antikor testleri bu şeyde yapılmıyor. Özel hastanelerde yapılıyor. Bu şekilde.
Evet, teşekkür ederim. Birçok çelişkileri ve belirsiz olan birçok konudan da bahsetti. Doğru diyorsun. Yani ne yapsak?
Evet hocam, ben burada bir yıldır buradayım. Bu süreci takip, yani aşağı yukarı biliyorum. Çok iyi gidiyorlardı. Son anda çok kötü rakamlar artmaya başladı. Ama sosyal anlamdaki yaptırımları gerçekten takdire şayan. Maskesiz insanları görmek son derece az buralarda. Son dönem artış var sosyal havanın ısınmasıyla. Zaten hocamız da kendisi, siz de çevirmiştiniz çok güzel. Sunumunda söyledi. Sadece sıkıntıları solunum cihazları sayısı 150 gördüğünüz gibi söyledi çok düşük solunum cihazları sayıları. Sağlık personelleri de yetersiz ama ciddi anlamda tedbirler almaya çalışıyorlar efendim hocam.
Teşekkür ederiz hocam. Siz oradasınız. Geçici mi oradasınız yoksa mi?
Hocam ben bir yıldır buradayım. Ben burada Selçuk Üniversitesi'nde görev yapıyorum aslında, tıp fakültesinde. Ben Uluslararası Balkan Üniversitesi'nde de geçici görevlendirmeyle geldim. Bir yıldır buradayım. Bu şekilde hocam.
Güzel, güzel. Teşekkür ederiz.
Teşekkür ediyorum. Kongreniz için de çok güzel ve verimli benim açımdan. Teşekkür ediyorum. Ellerinize sağlık hocam. Saygılarımdan.
Teşekkür ederiz. Again, thank you for your contribution and presentation, Dr. Mehmetovic. We really appreciate it. I hope we will see again another platform and future.
Thank you very much, Professor Tashkin. Hope to see you again. Thank you very much.
See you again. Bye bye.
Professor Faisal, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you very
Perfect.
clearly.
We have some technical problem. Normally Professor Enver would present his presentation, but right now he is not able to connect to Zoom. So could you please present your presentation? After that, Professor Enver will present his presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sayın kardeşlerimiz, hocalarımız ve arkadaşım çok çok selam.
Aleykümselam.
Ve Pakistan'dan hepinize sağlık, mutluluk diliyoruz. Zaten ben Türkçe olarak konuşacaktım ama zaten ben 94'te mezun olmuştum. Bunun için Türkçem o kadar iyi kalmamış. Bunun için ben İngilizce olarak konuşacağım. Bazı şeyler ben Türkçe'de anlatmak isteyeceğim. Zaten hocam COVID-19 bu zaten ilginç bir soru. Acaba nedir? Şimdi biz araştırmalar yapıyoruz.
Let me explain. Dear Professor Dr. Farzan, please, before your presentation, introduce yourself. What is your background and career? A little bit. Give me information.
I'm going to introduce that. Professor Dr. Farzan Dalijan, my field of study is management sciences, not health sciences. But I would like to speak on the positive aspects of COVID-19 instead of negative, what the positives it can bring. I did my PhD from Hacettepe University, Turkey in 1994. I work as a professor at various universities in Pakistan, and presently I'm Vice Chancellor of the Iqra National University. Iqra National University is a private sector university. It is just 10 years old, means just finished the infant stage and now going to be in the teen ages. At the same time, I have good friends in Turkey, and my relation with the Turkey is, I can say, very strong, because my two sons, they did their PhD from Turkey, from Gazi Osman Pasha University in the management sciences. And the third one, inshallah, he will join University Malatya for the health sciences. So I would like to continue my presentation now.
Yeah, we're glad to meet you again, please. Please start, you can start.
Okay. Basically, we are having in the, table of contents, so many aspects, but I would give some of them because the reason behind the rate of deaths and the positive aspects of the COVID-19 in Pakistan in particular. As we know that there are two types of major health issues, genetic disorders and infectious disorders. And genetic disorders travel from families. It is a bigger threat than the diseases. And infectious disorder occur due to the microorganisms, bacteria, viruses, fungi, more prevalent than genetic diseases. In developed countries, genetic diseases are predominantly screened at the birth rate, and preventive measures are taken in this regard. But unfortunately, in Pakistan, we are having much more population, and because of that, we are having very less, health facilities. So this screening is not possible at all hospitals, at all rural areas particularly. And vaccine, we say generally, there's antivirals, antibacterial. And in Pakistan, again, there is a myth that they are reluctant to go for antivirals and antibacterial, these vaccines. And there are so many negative propagandas against these vaccines in Pakistan, particularly against the polio. And regarding the polio vaccine, it is said that it is to have more and more infertility, to decrease the population. So these are some propagandas in Pakistan. to our population. So we consider that the death rate or the infection rate is comparatively on the lesser side as compared to the developed countries. And as I explained earlier, that this may be because of the two reasons. One, maybe we are having not more tests. This may be one of the reasons that there are, say, less reports. Or the other reason may be that our population, they are taking vaccines for malaria and for this other, say, infectious diseases. So they are having a say, strong immune system.
Yeah. Dear Professor Farzan, let me translate some crucial point.
Ama kaydediyor mu? Önemli olur.
Farzan bize diyor ki
hallettim. Hallettik.
Pakistan'ın
Hoca takılıyor, devam ediyor.
İran kaynaklı olduğu. Bu arada mikrofonu açık olan arkadaşlar var. Lütfen kapatabilirse, çünkü sesler geliyor. Soru soracağınız zaman açarsanız daha memnun oluruz. Daha etkili bir sunum gerçekleştirilir. Pakistan vakalarının İran kaynaklı olduğu, yine Suudi Arabistan'dan Umre kaynaklı olduğu, ayrıca Avrupa'ya çalışmak için gidip geri dönenlerin Pakistan'a vaka getirdiğini söylüyor. Bir diğer komplo teorisi ise sosyal medyadan bulaştığını virüslerin diye böyle de komplo teorileri ortaya atılmış. Çünkü hakikaten sosyal medyanın etkisi de bu teorinin tetiklenmesi, insanları paniklemek ve değişik davranışlara sürüklediği için de hakikaten burada inanılmaz etkilerini gördük. Kongre Başkanımız Sedat Hocamızın da böyle bir yazısı vardı. Korona sosyal medyadan bulaşır mı diye bir yazısı vardı. Arkadaşlar, güncel vaka olarak 233.000 vaka test edilmiş, 4.922 ölümlü vaka var. Ayrıca yine istatistiklerde Pakistan'ın İslamabad ve diğer bölgelerindeki vaka sayılarını ve günlük vaka sayılarını da görüyoruz. Bir önceki slaytta görüyorduk tabii. Yes, please continue.
So if you see this slide, newly affected versus newly recovered in Pakistan. So the first case was appeared in Pakistan on 15 February. Then we were having, say, very slow, say, reports of the cases. And it started, say, on increase from April 18. And in the, say, June, we were having much more cases. And in the, say, May, we were having much more cases. But the recoveries started after, say, we can say just 1 month. And after 1 month, the recovery started, the recoveries were slow. But now in the month of July, and in the, say, by the end of June, we are having more recoveries. And again, we are having one, say, just discussion that when the weather will become hot and hot, so the corona will, say, go back to the home. This may be true, this may not be true, but of course, we are having much more recoveries by the end of June and July.
Bu tabloda da koronavirüs ilk aylarda, Şubat'ta başladığında çok az, ama son Haziran ve Temmuz'da giderek yükselen bir grafik görüyoruz. Hem burada tabii iyileşen sayısı da yüksek, ama bulaşan yeni vaka sayısı da yüksek olduğunu görüyoruz. Son aylarda acayip bir şekilde tırmanış görüyoruz. Yes, please.
Okay. So what are the, say, problems creating of this virus or this, say, COVID-19 on increased side? We are having no integration with the institution. And the institution means the hospital, the doctors, and we are having another type of doctors too, which we call, say, in our language, Hakim. Of course, Hakim in Turkish is a doctor, but we are having Hakim who is, say, treating all these diseases with the herbs. We were having lack of corrective measures, that how to have more and more ventilators and how to have more and more mask uses and, say, glove uses and disinfection facilities. Economic instability, because the people are, say, poor, and most of the people, they are working on daily basis. And when they are working on daily basis, if they sit in the home, so really they can't, say, go for the bread and butter of their families or their kids. So this is one of the reasons that the government was not in a position to control it. Again, on the other side, we are having poor health infrastructure in the Sindh, Balochistan. These are the provinces of Pakistan. And in the Sindh, we are having much more cases. Balochistan is bigger province by virtue of the area, but in the size of population is the smallest one. But again, there are so many cases. In the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, we are having, say, the only, we can say, area where we are having good health infrastructure is our capital, Islamabad, or we are having the big cities like Lahore and like Rawalpindi, like Faisalabad. So we were having shortage of mask, gloves, and this protective suits for testing kits. In the start, even our doctors, they were facing all these problems. And this is the reason that the most of the healthcare consultants, they got infected because we were having less facilities. Now we are having now, at this time, we are exporting masks, we are exporting gloves, and we are going to export the ventilators to other countries. We started there, but in the start we were not having this. And we were having a lack of awareness, say, in the masses regarding the COVID-19. And were having also the fighting myths. And there was a blame game between the government and opposition. We are having, the government was saying that to have more and more control and to have lockdown. But on the other side, the opposition were saying what the people will eat if you go for imposition of the lockdown. So these are the causes. And again, we were having less facilities for the research and development.
Let me translate, please, this slide. Pakistan'daki bazı sorunları, bu Covid ile ilgili yaşanan sorunları bize özetliyor. Kurumlar arasında entegrasyon eksik olduğunu, konulara proaktif yaklaşılmadı, yani önleyici ve olay olmadan önce proaktif yaklaşımın olmadığını, ekonomik bazı düzensizliklerin, sorunların olduğunu, yine bazı bölgelerde sağlık altyapısının çok zayıf olduğunu, yatırımlarının, hastanelerin ve gerekli sağlık donanımlarının eksik olduğunu, eldiven gibi, maske gibi, test cihazı gibi bunda da eksiklikler olduğunu, ayrıca çeşitli mitlerle ve çeşitli efsanelerle de savaşılması zorunda kaldığını, çünkü çeşitli inanışlar ve çeşitli bilinçle ilgili ve bakış açılarıyla ilgili de sorunlar olduğu, yine hükümetle muhalefetin birbirini suçlama eğilimleri olduğu, Ar-Ge ve işte araştırma geliştirme ve bunun gibi çalışmalarında eksik ve az olduğunu bize söylüyor. Yes, please.
Yes. So I want to explain one thing more, that the social media played a negative role in Pakistan in this. And we were having, say, so many myths on the social media, particularly on the WhatsApp, even on the Facebooks. It was said that it is a man-made virus. And it is having one, say, objective to reduce the population of the world. It was said that it is a big game of the Bill Gates. And we were having so many, controversial issues. Some of the people were saying that when they go to doctors, they are injecting poison to the patients. And that's why any person who were having signs of the, say, corona, they were not going to the hospitals with the fear that if you go there, they will inject a poison to our body. And why they were saying this? There was a propaganda, there was a campaign that the IMF is paying $39,000 for one dead body. So if one report is there, so IMF will pay this much amount. This was, say, in the market. And it was said that it is not a virus, it is a chemical agent. And the hospital, they are injecting this to the patients. The other, saying was that it will disappear in summer when the temperature will go to 37. And it was even some of the people, they were quoting with hadith that it will end by 12th of May. Because on the 12th of May, all the viruses go up. These were, say, the myth. And some were saying that there is no corona, just monopoly of the government. They want to sell their vaccine, they want to sell their medicines. And the COVID-19 is called 19 because it has 19 points. One of, even our minister, state minister, she said that it has got 19 points. And she was explaining that. So it means we were not clear that what corona or what this COVID-19 is. This is the reason.
Yeah. Continue, please.
Okay. So doctors, they are now having, they are educating people use of mask and gloves. And now the people are accepting. When they saw so many deaths, they are accepting it. Social distancing, now in the Pakistan, the universities are closed, the schools are closed, and the marriage halls are closed because of the social distancing. The hotel industry is almost closed. The public transport that were not in use in the month of March, April, May, and to the mid of June. After the mid of June, they, with certain, say, parameters, they have started it. Natural immunity boosters, and the doctors, they were suggesting diets having more and more, or say, strong immunity. And plasma transplants, that was also suggested by the doctors. We are having allopathy, say, recoveries or allopathy treatment. Use of boiled water of various herbs, including sana makki and other. In Pakistan, most of the people, they are going for treatment of the various herbs. And even on the, say, social media, there was a campaign that the people are going to use various herbs, and there will be no herb in Pakistan in the future because they are using it for corona treatment. So everyone was saying that this herb is useful, this herb is useful, this is useful, and the people were trying it. And the public, they started the steam of herb, or the say steam. And strong religious faith was there. That it will not affect us if we go for some certain types of surah. And even our, say, pious persons or religious persons, they were explaining that if you go for this dua this many times, so the corona will not infect you. So there was another. And most in the mosque or in the, say, religious schools, there was a campaign that it is a test from God, and you just go and ruju and go, say, and work that how we can make God happy. So the people were giving azan on their houses top, rooftop. The people were going for, say, nawafil. The people was going for recitation of the Quran. The people was going for, and all these were, say, in practice in Pakistan.
Yeah. Let me translate before slide and this. Pakistan'da çeşitli mitler, inanışlar ve yaklaşımlar mevcut. Bazıları bizim ülkemize de benzeyebiliyor. Virüsün insan yapımı olabildiğine dair bazı iddialar ve konuşmalar. Yine Bill Gates'in, ülkemizde de var, Bill Gates'in işte bunun bir parmağının olduğu ya da bununla ilgili bir projesinin olduğunu söyleyenler var. Bu virüsün Bill Gates'in oyunu olduğu, işte IMF'den yardım almak için falan böyle virüsle ilgili sayıların verildiği, virüs olmadığı kimyasal bir ajan olduğu ya da yazın 37 derecede virüsün ortadan kaybolabileceğini, işte hükümetle ilgili bazı spekülatif haberler, yani hükümete atıfta bulunmalar, işte 19 ismi verilmesinin 19 noktadan ibaret olduğu gibi çeşitli yaklaşımlar olduğu, Pakistan'da halk arasında böyle mitler ve söylentiler olduğu söyleniyor. Burada doktorların aslında bilimsel olaya yaklaştığını, maske ve eldiven kullandığını, bütün bu kurallara uyduğunu. Professor Farzan, allopathy, what kind of alternative medicine or what kind of approach or take?
Yeah, it is a medicine which is usually prepared by the, say, non-doctors, and it is a
traditional or
nutraceuticals. With
Like
the herbal plants.
Herbal.
Traditional.
Yeah. Bizim ülkemizde de oluyor yani doktora gitmeden şeylere gitmek, işte bu ot ve ilaç, geleneksel tıbbi tedavi değil.
Ben Türkiye'de aynı şey gördüm. Yonca kullanmak falan, başka şeyler kullanmak falan. Ben orada da görmüşüm bu şeyler.
Evet.
Yani
ya tıbbın dışındaki arayışlar diyelim ona. Onunla ilgili de yine şey var. Öyle bir yönelim var. Onların da bir kendine özgü çözümleri, o grubun, yani o meslek grubunun işte suyu kaynattığını, virüsü yok ettiğini falan söylüyor. Bir de halkın da yine halkın daha çok burada dini inanışlar üzerinden olayı anlamlandırdığını, halkın da böyle yaklaştığını olaya söylüyor. Yes.
Okay. So,
Deniz, bu arada diğer hocamız geldi mi?
yes.
Bakıyorum hocam.
We are having what are the issues? What are the issues of this COVID-19? Pakistan was already in economic crisis, and the stock market went down because of the corona. Throughout the world, this is, but in Pakistan, we got more and more negative effect of this corona. International borders were closed, and even our trade with Afghanistan, just my home is just 25 kilometers from Afghanistan. So the trade is badly affected. No overseas flights resulting in more, and that's the reason that our international airline that is in loss, that is in deficit. More scheme from the government resulting fiscal means the government diverted its funds to the stoppage of corona, and they stop all the developmental activities. And it is a strange, or it will be a strange for you that in the Pakistan no surplus funds during this financial year, and they have stopped giving increase in the budget. Education institutions were closed, and the dilemma is the online classes for which we were not ready, because in Pakistan the power sector is having difficulties, and some of the areas they are having 4 to 5 hours or even 8 hours load shedding of the electricity. So the students, they cannot cope with this situation, and they cannot go for the online education. Means in our university, the online education went well, because we closed the universities on 13th of March and we started online education on 16th of March. But it is why that 70% of our students, they are from the well-established families. So they were having no financial problem, no financial issues. They were having, connectivity of the net. So the online classes, even in the government university, they started from 1st of June. We are having now less foreign reserve, foreign exchange that went down. Most of the businesses, the industries, theirs were closed. And the most affected, the 30% people who are working on daily wage basis, they were having no jobs. These are the negatives of the COVID-19 on Pakistan economy.
Bu slaytta da bu virüs sürecinde, COVID-19 sürecinde ekonomik etkilerini ve sosyal etkilerini bize anlatıyor. Ekonomik krizin ifade edildiğini ülkede, yine uluslararası sınırların kapatıldığını, burada ülkenin bütçe açıkları verdiği, yine eğitimin durduğu ve ertelendiği, gecikmeler yaşandığı, online eğitimde yine çelişkiler olduğu, tam olarak oturmadığı, burada yine yabancı yatırımcıların yine çok az kaynak geldiği yabancılardan, iş dünyasının, business sektörünün durma noktasında olduğunu ve en çok da bu süreçten günlük yevmiyeli çalışan, günlük çalışan işçilerin, çalışanların etkilendiğini bize söylüyor. Please continue, carry on.
Okay. So the reasons behind this was carelessness of the masses. In this last Eid, we say Eid al-Fitr, the government allowed the people to go for shopping. So to have new clothes and new shoes, there were so many rushes in the mall, and the corona, this spread at a higher rate. Again, there was a law and order situation in Pakistan, and from one province or from one city to another city, there was a lockdown. But on the Eid, they allowed the people. And those who were from the same province, when they went to the, when they were coming from the same province to the other cities of Pakistan, so really they affected the other people, because it was very difficult for them and to control. And again, even our policemen, even our say health consultants, they got infected badly. And we failed to have more awareness program in the start. We started, but it was late. In diminishing role of media, and the media, they were say conveying a very negative messages. They were not under the control, we can say under the control of government. So these are the reason, and policy makers were having dilemma. One minister was saying that one thing, the other minister was saying another thing. Even the ministers of the Sindh province and ministers of the Punjab, they were having conflicts with each other. So that became the reason to have more and more this coronavirus. And the people, particularly in the family, because we are having joint family system. In the joint family, usually we are having more than 6, 7%, 8%, 10%, even in some houses we are having 20%. So it was very difficult to keep the social distancing in our rural areas particularly.
Yine Covid'de bu durumda olmalarını birçok faktöre bağlıyor. Kitlelerin şeye dikkat etmemesi, sosyal izolasyona dikkat etmemesi, yönetimdeki çelişkiler ve karşılıklı fikir zıtlaşmaları, kuralların aktif olarak kullanmaması gibi birçok faktöre bağlayarak Covid'de bu son dönemde yaşanan sıkıntıları bize anlatıyor.
So the society, digitalization of the society is an outcome of the corona. We are having now e-filing, we are having e-conferencing, we are having e-meeting, we are having, say, discussions with the Higher Education Commission on, say, Microsoft Teams, other awareness regarding online earning, how to earn online. That was also say on the positive side now. And more e-learning programs started in Pakistan, particularly by the private sector. They encourage the e-learning programs and positive use of the social media platform. But all these say not in the start. By the end of June, it started. And awareness regarding political system of Pakistan, that now they want to have a fight with the say corona. And on the social media, every patient, he or she, they says, I'll defeat corona, I'll defeat corona, I'll defeat corona. So means the people, they are having positive say strength, and more health and educational budget that is required. And now the provinces are, because as earlier I said that under 18th amendment, this was given to the provincial government. So now in the month of June, we are having budgets, and now they have kept the budgets for these facilities in the say in the month of June, because our budgets are usually from the 25th June to 30th of June, they start. And following the footprint of nation who contain COVID stages. And we, like some other countries who defeated corona, so now we are having those messages that how they defeated and how we can defeat. We are not less than them. And support from domestic products that are also coming from this say negative to what positive. Positive impact is on the climate change. Because of this corona lockdown, now we were having more rain in the month of May and more rain in the month of June. Usually in the month of May and in the month of June, we were having no rain. But because of the clean environment, we received much more rain. And that's our water reservoirs are say strong, they are filled. And we will be having no energy crisis or very less energy crisis because of this say more and more water storages. 2020 has achieved the target which was meant to achieve earlier. And what is the target? That is how to go for health planning and health facilities. Inclusion of new norms of safety. And new norms of safety that we go for disinfection. Even to me, on the other side, the bankers are sitting. So when we go to the banks, there is a sanitizer, they are using distancing, and they are using say mask, and they are going for disinfection of their buildings, disinfection of their areas. Even the universities are disinfecting on, if not on daily basis, on alternate basis. and people are becoming more conscious about their edible habits. Now in Pakistan, about the junk food, now they are not going for there. They are not going for burgers and they are not going for the other side. And they go for organic foods now. And they are, say, having the habits of organic foods. Better diet plans with major focus on immunity boosting. The diet practices or the diet tradition is on the change, and we are going to take the diets having more and more positiveness for the immunity. And administrations make the availability of, say, hand sanitizers, disinfection masks, gloves at the shopping malls, restaurant and transportation. And even in Pakistan, you will see on the smart shops, no entry without mask, no entry without sanitizer, no entry without this. So these are the positives of the corona, say this virus or COVID-19 on Pakistan, say social change.
Yeah. Professor Farzan, last 3 minutes, please. In 3 minutes, you finish your presentation. Then we take some question.
Yeah, now it's finished. And my request is that if you ask the question regarding
in 3 minutes, give a conclusion or some
conclusion. Yeah. So, as an academician in our university, we are giving the research topics to go for the positiveness of the COVID-19, that what positive this has given to the society. Because all the time we used to say, or used to talk about the negatives, but now we want that the climate change. Now, one example, the shopping bag use reduced too much. The people are going to take their, say, cloth-made bags to the for the shopping. In the mosque, they are avoiding use of capes, which was usually used in the mosque for the, say, prayers. Now they are having their own. Now they take their own prayer rack to the mosque. They take care of their shoes. They take care of their, say, children, and even at the entry point in the houses, even in the car, even in the transport, everyone is taking care. So we want to conduct research on all these activities and how this can, say, like as I said earlier, that now the Pakistan is producing these masks, 95, and now they are exporting to the other countries. We are producing now ventilator, and by one of the university comsets, they are having very good results. They are having very, say, low cost. Now the sanitizers, they walk through gates. In Pakistan, it is these are manufacturing at a very lowest cost, and we can, say, sell to the other countries. And at the same time, particularly our food habits, that is changing, and we want to have research on the restaurant and hotel industries where we can have more hygienic foods.
Burada virüsün aslında ülkede, Pakistan'da çeşitli pozitif etkileri ve toplum üzerinde pozitif etkileri de olduğunu söylüyor ve gelecekte de olacağını, özellikle burada hijyen koşulları, beslenme koşulları farkındalığı, insanların daha çok bilinçlenmesi, çevrelerine dikkat etmeleri, yeni güvenlik normları gibi pek çok hem hükümet yönetim anlamında hem de toplum anlamında daha çok bilinçlenmesine ve bu sağlık ve güvenlik konularına dikkat etmesine de vesile olacağını bize söylüyor.
So, I'm thankful to all of you. You listen me. And now if there is any, say, clarification or if there is any, say, discussion, so I'm here.
Okay. Deniz,
Actually, I have to say that we are running so late. We were going to finish this section at 12:50, but we have also still one speaker. So as soon as possible, we should finish this presentation, and then Professor, by the way, Professor Ömer, can you hear me?
Deniz, ama onu yapmamız zor olur. Onu şeyde alsak, sonra alsak.
Şu an hocam
50 geçiyor zaman.
Evet. Professor Ömer, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Dennis.
Yes. First of all, welcome to our congress.
Thank you, Florida.
And now we are running so late. We're going to finish this section at 12:50, so it's me now. But
yeah,
can you please make your presentation in 10 minutes?
Yes, I will try to be shortly.
Okay.
I'm here with my friend with Erisela.
Okay.
And Loretta is not here, but we are together here in the same, as you see here in desktop.
Be careful to keep the social distance.
Yeah, social. Yeah, we are. I mean, checked about the coronavirus. So we are. I mean, healthy.
Yes, yes.
Great.
Yeah,
so before your presentation, I would like to say that Professor Ferzan.
Yeah.
Professor Ferzan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. And there is no time for questions. We are so sorry.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and I'm thankful to all of you.
Taşkın Hocam, sizin söylemek istediğiniz bir şey var mı?
Thank you for your presentation and contributions. We hope to see you again. And regards, all the best for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Perfect. So, Professor Enver, as I told you before, we have no time right now, but let's say 10 minutes. Can you handle it?
Yes, I will try to be in 10 minutes shortly in my presentation.
Great.
Unfortunately, that we have this, Mr. President, we just yesterday we learned that the conference was postponed. I mean, it was done in Mekodonia and it's online now. Anyway, we are starting here. As I told you, I am with Erisela Dino, who is our friend here, public affairs specialist.
Hello.
Another colleague didn't come. So it's just to see that content overview about my presentation. As you see here,
can you see the screen?
Yeah, of course, we see this.
Okay.
We are
so I'm not going to read all of this, but you can see the country overview, analyze situation and the national and new things and challenge and next steps of my presentation.
Great.
Now is this is the algorithm of how the COVID started since December and up to now. In the order, in the world, these data are according to WHO and other resources. And here, Albanians. Some facts about Albanians. We are located in the Western Balkan. It's the population is around 2.88 millions. Albania is going to be older and older, and the life expectancy of Albania now is 78.46 years. It seems it's comparable with other countries in the Western. Regarding to our data, statistical data about COVID, here we have around 3,038 new cases. We have 1,213, active cases, and we have also 1,744 which already are negative now, and around recovered, and 83 cases. Of them, they lost their life. Here with the distribution of the cases in the Albania map, of almost Albania in every district of prefecture has the cases, but are some districts which are not, in color, which are, as we say, in green area. We can move and this. Here, see the data about Albanian male and females. Here we have this because I brought this situation to understand that how the COVID here in Albania can be distributed, because we still are, rural area, but population is going to be more and more urban area. So from 1955 and now to 2020, more people are living in a city than in rural area. Here, as we have a National Medical Emergency Center announced protocols in COVID-19 spread in Albania, explaining that citizens that suspect that have contacted the virus should call designated national emergency number. All of this, we have these citizens who arrive from other countries. We checked in the airport and other, point of our border, to test them about fever and other samples for the COVID. In 9 March, we have the first 2 cases of this. In 9 March also, we started the lockdown of the country. So as you see in all of this here, in algorithm, so we have hardening, the 13 March hardening of its lockdown in major city across the country. Road connection, major city were closed. Foreign nation that need to go to the airport needed to have received written permission from the police to use the road. All public facility at the airport were closed, including restaurants and bars. And so in 16 March, another wide-ranging emergency legislation was adopted, specifying various fines for violated of protocol to be effective immediately. So all of these, dates, Ministry of Health and government and other sectors in Albania introduced their strategic plan to prevent the COVID in Albania, and in order the new cases to be isolated, the contact cases to be in quarantine. So we have our capacity, we could say the bed capacity for COVID was around 500 cases, 500 beds. Last respiratory capacity was 200. We have a pneumology unit, which was considered as a COVID-2 hospital. And the COVID-1 hospital was a national, infection disease clinic, which is located in the Mother Teresa Hospital. So preparation to establish a new hospital for a second wave and for rehabilitation of patients after intensive care, bed capacity was 100. So here we have hospital care units, in Albania, which is, I think the graph is too much dense, so you cannot, but the legend, it's saying that we have intubated and intensive care unit.
Low number of intubated people.
Yeah, and hospital care. Actually, we have low number of intubated people. They need, so the testing view here also, we have the number of cases here. This is a tested view according
and the percentage
and the percentage of the positivity of that since 10th of
for 100 cases.
100 cases, but it's described in percentage. And here also we have tests per day. Number of tests per day. Actually, we have a low number of testing people. Compared to other countries, we have from 7.5 to 10 tests per 100,000 people. Now I'm going to give my presentation to Erisela, which is going to speak about my presentation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Erisela Dino. I'm specialist of public health, and I'm going through. I'm not going to lose time, and I will emphasize the presentation. During this period of quarantine and lockdown, new things were implemented in our country that we never did before. For example, for the medical staff in the Mother Teresa Hospital, were performed serology tests to see if they have performed the antibody regarding the COVID. And the percentage and the positivity rate was 8% regarding the test. New digital platforms implemented for online learning and school in the university. This was for the first time. Telemedicine on the primary care in order to protect already population. For example, the already population, they were not obliged to go for the GP consultation and for the medication. They contacted the doctors online through the platforms. Also, we have, let's say, a new thing. We have to, if we go for a grocery to buy medicines or to go work, we have to take a permission from the government, and a new digital platform was implemented. It was like an app downloaded in our smartphones, and we can took the permission and the approval through this digital tool, and also with SMS through the phone. And we have already give the permission to go in this kind of permitted, let's say, places to go. Media campaign was our partner in this difficult period, and a lot of television moderators invited a lot of doctors and a lot of public health persons to speak regarding the measurement, how the people can care regarding the COVID, and also individual doctors were engaged in social media, giving advice, awareness regarding the virus. And also a lot of institutions here in Albania was collaborating closely, like Ministry of Health, Ministry of Finance, Public Health Institution, Policy, and all the institutions were together to make the life more easier for the people during the quarantine. And Work Salary was called, let's say, a package, a financial package from the government for all the citizens that didn't work during the period of quarantine. They giving some, let's say, payments through the individual account, bank account of every citizen that worked from home or didn't work during the quarantine. But also during this restrictive quarantine, we have a lot of changes because beside all the things, people didn't have enough awareness regarding the, let's say, infection disease. Our quarantine regarding the number of the cases was very long and very restrictive. We have the permission to go out only 1 hour and extended 2 hours after that. We have also skeptic population regarding the existence of the virus, and they believe more in conspiracy that the virus doesn't exist. And regarding the PPEI, only we have, let's say, stock only for the first line doctors that faced the disease. And regarding, we have faced some challenging regarding the culture, because the people here was not, let's say, habits to go 10 people in a funeral ceremony, and go in one of our city became, let's say, like a bomb regarding the spread of the virus, because 100 people participated in a funeral and make the city become a red zone. Restricted permission, as I said before, to go to home, and total quarantine regarding weekends. All the city were locked down, no shops, no pharmacy, nothing. All the people have to stay home. Cars and public transportation restriction, only one person should stay in the car, for example, and not with the familiars. Public transportation was open only 3 days before. It's a huge 4 months without public transportation, and the PCR testings were centralized only one center. Only the Public Health Institute was, let's say, permitted to do all the tests for the patients. And we have to.
Dear colleagues, let me translate important point for Turkish colleagues in a couple of minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
Profesör Enver Roshi Arnavutluk sisteminde COVID ile ilgili performanslarını bize anlatıyor arkadaşlar. 2.8 milyonluk bir nüfusa sahip olan Arnavutluk'ta bugüne kadar 29.669 vaka tespit edilmiş, 81 kişi, pardon 29.000 test yapılmış, 3.038 tane olmuş, 81 kişi ölmüş bu testlerden. Yatak kapasiteleri ise aspiratör, yani yoğun bakım sayısı ise 200 tane, yani bu entübe hastalara pandemi sırasında okullar, marketler, teletıp, sağlık sisteminde teletıpı kullanarak uzaktan tedavi yaparak yaşlı nüfusu da korumaya çalışmışlar. Ayrıca yine polis, sağlık sistemi, finans, gibi bankacılık, marketler birbirine entegre olarak, ayrıca yine devlet çalışılmadığı dönemde çalışmayanlara para vermiş, bazı toplantılar, günlere yüzlerce sahip vermiş. PCR konusunda sadece bir merkezde PCR yapıldığını söylüyorlar. Okay, please continue.
Okay. I have to remind something that was very interesting during our time of the quarantine was initiative took by the government that we sent 30 healthcare professionals to Italy to help Italian doctors to handle the situation regarding the COVID. And it was, let's say, a thank you, media thank you achievement from the Italy and from the European Union also for this kind of initiative from Ministry of Health and the government. Also, we have to be prepared also because the new season is coming and we have also the flu that will come and will be mixed with conversion, mixed with COVID-19. And what should we do? We have to take an emergency preparedness plan should be in place, and we have to have active surveillance to define which is flu and which is COVID-19, and give the people and the public the accurate information regarding this in order for them to understand which is flu and which is COVID, in order to not put a lot of pressure and panic in the population. And also from the season flu. And besides of this, or if the things will come better, we have to remind ourselves that we have to respect the social distance, we have to wear masks in the closed environment, and we have to keeping the hands hygiene. In all the cases, if the cases will be zero in our country, we have to take this kind of measurement. And what will be the next steps for our country? We have to be prepared because we have to learn from the past, and we have to be prepared from the future, and we have to take the preparation of a national plan in order to be ready to build capacity regarding the unity and all the reanimation things regarding respirators, and also the closed for protection of our doctors, increase the investment in the public health because they are so low in our country, and allocate specific budget for pandemic, and to use this in order of any other pandemic, not only for COVID, for other infection disease, or we don't know what will happen in the future. Always continuously provide trainings and education for business and employees. For example, how to take the distance, how to wear the mask, but if they have, let's say, fever, they have to go home and not to be the risk for the others that are working. Continue educations and the awareness campaign through the social media and the media. Always keeping in mind all the points that I said in the last slide, and collaboration among all actors, and as we did, involve the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Finance to allocate, as I say, the budget, and other institutions that are, let's say, responsible to save the life and to let's say, to motivate the people that the health is the most important thing. And this is the time for the question and answer, but I think so that we don't have the time.
Yeah. Sorry, if I would add something, that I would like here to say thank you to the Turkish government, where during the crisis here, COVID crisis, they sent us, sanitary, support for Albania. Yeah. This crisis, explored that every country was not prepared, to be protected from COVID. Yeah, thank you.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
We historically relationship, good relationship. Your
Yeah.
country.
Thank you.
Normal. Thank you for your presentation and contribution. Herhangi bir soru var mı? Arnavutluk sağlık sistemini bize anlattılar. Performanslarını ve gelecekte neler yapmayı düşündüklerini ve şu an neler yaptığını. Deniz, var mı bir soru? Senin vardır muhtemelen.
Hocam ben birazcık kaçırdım sunumu, o yüzden şey yapamadım ama şey diyebilirim. Professor Enver, we really appreciated to see you here and it's really good to see you and I hope I can see you at the next conference.
Yes, I will be there.
Great.
The next.
So now we don't have any question, I guess. Taşkın Hocam, sorumuz var mı? Katılımcılarımıza soralım.
Katılımcılardan varsa bekleyelim. Mikrofonlarını açsınlar. Gözükmüyor.
Sanırım yok hocam. Evet, bu son sunumumuzdu.
Okay, dear colleagues and participants and presenter, keynote speaker, thank you for all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope to see you again face to face and physically for healthy days of you and see you again. Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Eril,
Thank you.
Dr. Erisela also, I would like to thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dennis, for invitation. Thank you very much. We appreciate too much that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. See you soon.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Evet Taşkın Hocam, isterseniz bu oturumu kapatabiliriz.
Kapatalım. Teşekkür ederiz bütün herkese. Deniz San'da organizasyonun oturumu destekleri için, katkı için. Bütün katılımcılara çok teşekkür ederiz. Öğle yemeği saati geldi. Afiyet olsun. 2'de oturumlarda görüşmek dileğiyle.
Evet, görüşmek dileğiyle.